What is a worldview? Hi, my name is David Suarez, and in this video, we're going to be talking about one of the most important and fundamental precursors to apologetics, to evangelism, to most things you do in your life. We're going to be talking about worldviews. So, worldviews are the foundation for how you understand reality. Quite literally, a worldview is how you view the world. This can be the way that you approach questions like epistemology, how we come to know things, ontology, what is the actual reality of existence, and metaphysics as well. You could even go on to anthropology. What is humanity? What is a human nature? What are humans? Teleology. What's the purpose and ends of things, if there exist any at all? There's so many questions that form a worldview, and yet they're very, very foundational to how we're able to engage with people that might disagree with us, and that's pretty often, I think. How we come to study reality, how we come to interpret the facts that we come to know, since, of course, facts don't speak for themselves. Facts are interpreted by an interpretive scheme or interpretive method, right? And so all of us have to analyze our interpretive methodology in order to see how we come to certain conclusions based off the facts available to us. That's all to say a worldview is really, really important. So why should I understand worldviews? Well, number one, you have a worldview. So if there's something you should know, you should know about yourself, right? You should be able to explain to yourself and to other people how you view the world. And of course, world here is in a qualified sense. World really is referring to all of existence, all of reality. We just use world in a type of philosophical sense. But along with understanding yourself and your own beliefs better, number two, it allows you to be able to disagree better. You see, that might sound strange. I mean, after all, shouldn't we just want to agree? Yes, we should, but we also have to know first, before trying to come to agreements about certain aspects of reality, we have to know how to disagree well. You see, let's say we have two people who have very different worldviews. This individual says that the most important aspect of a human's existence is their ability to do that which they want to do, no matter what. And then this person says that one of the most foundational aspects of human existence is following a divine law, some sort of set of moral values that come from a supernatural rather than a natural source. Well, obviously, unmitigated willing of freedom for all choices and desires versus adherence to a divine law are going to conflict, right? So if we end up having a conversation in which these two are just talking about their understandings of, morality without addressing the underlying and foundational worldview assumptions, then they're going to talk past each other, and their conversation is going to be pretty fruitless. But if both people understood worldviews and how they work, then they'd not only understand their own worldviews, but each other's, or at least they'd have the ability to learn each other's worldviews during their conversation, which would mean instead of them calling the other person stupid or foolish or ignorant, they'd say, okay, I understand your worldview, but I can either sufficiently say that it's inconsistent, that you don't really agree with your worldview if you look at the logical conclusion of it, or that it just simply doesn't account for all the data we see in reality. These are all reasonable ways to approach disagreement without having to just assume that someone's some sort of deity-worshipping loser or some sort of mechanical flesh robot in a materialistic view, right? This is more dignified, but also more fruitful. And that's the point of discussion. But also, number three, worldviews allow us to agree better, too. You see, if you're going to agree with somebody, you should be able to explain why. As a matter of fact, you can't even disagree with somebody effectively unless you're able to say what you disagree about. It'd be kind of weird if somebody said that they have this friend named John, and I've never heard about this person named John, but the first thing I say is, I disagree with him. And they're like, about what? I'm like, I don't know. You can't legitimately disagree with somebody in a knowable and truthful way unless you actually know what they believe. But then also, in the same sense, you can't agree with somebody unless you actually know what they believe, and also specifically why they believe it. You could end up having two similar conclusions about reality, but very different ways of getting there. For instance, I could say that the Earth formed from some sort of large rock hitting the Earth, colliding with it, ejecting some material out into space, and that eventually coalesced and formed the moon that we see today. And so that could be how the moon formed. And so I believe the moon is real. Another person could say that the moon is real, but their reason for thinking so is because a giant whale one day barfed up a huge kidney stone that just happened to be moon-shaped, and so it's how we got it. Yes, we both agree that the moon is real, but our fundamental underlying assumptions about reality show that we actually disagree about a lot more. The whys, and therefore we're going to have to disagree before we can agree more fully and more correctly. So, how do I get better at understanding worldviews, understanding my own worldview, understanding other people's worldviews? Well, you have to study them. I mean, that's how it happens. You study worldviews and you have conversations, which is what this entire channel is about. In this channel, I hope to show people how to have more meaningful worldview foundations, showing them how to analyze themselves, self-reflect, really understand what you believe, why you believe it, and question if it's consistent. Really see if you're being consistent with your foundational assumptions about reality the whole way through. And along with that, throughout this channel, I'm going to be analyzing well-known political, philosophical, academic, and other scholarly figures in order to understand what their worldviews are as a type of worldview case study, a worldview review. These will hopefully be illuminating videos that allow us to see how individuals, even when they make some of the most crazy, wild statements, so controversial, and you just know you disagree with them and you think they're horrible, there's many cases where you can at least understand them a bit better once you realize, of course they would say that, because of their worldview. So, with that being said, I hope that you'll excitedly wait alongside me as we work through and move ahead to review the worldviews of everyone. Have a good day.